It's time. Hello and welcome to WarsawJS number 118. And if you're wondering why the balloons and everything, please know that this is the 10th anniversary of WarsawJS. WarsawJS is a community, it's a meetup for the community of enthusiasts and professionals interested in JavaScript. It's a place where everyone can meet and talk and learn, feel welcome and safe. And that's what WarsawJS is doing. And it's been doing that for 10 years. Yes, that's why the balloons. Balloons are not here every single time. And there's been over 200 events. And you're wondering, is my math wrong? I just said 118. Well, that's because it's not just meetups. There's more. So other than meetups, there's Confront.js, a great conference. There's workshops. There's a whole history of masterclass going on and more. Please refer to the slides. Moving on, the mission of WarsawJS is to welcome everyone who wants to learn, make them feel safe. And speaking of that, WarsawJS is following the Berlin Code of Conduct. It's very likely that you're familiar with it to some extent. If you're not, please feel free to look it up or ask any of the staff members for help with that. And now, about me. Hi, I'm Zibi. I'm filling in for Mr. Barry Salone. He couldn't make it. I'm going to do my best. Normally, I'm the organizer of Meet.js, which is the other meetup. But we like each other, and the community is one community. So here I am. And if you're surprised, thank you. You're learning about it today. I learned about it yesterday. It's great. Okay. Now, the team behind WarsawJS. So these are the organizers. These are the people who made this event happen. And that's Piotr, Sasha, Luisa, and Maciek. Give it up to them. Thank you. Yeah. But there is much more people behind what's happening here. So we have Dobek, Mehdi, Martyna, Ilian, Agnieszka, Jakub, and Krzysztof. And they're all helping this event be so great, so professional, and so welcoming to all of you. So give it up to them. Yep, that's our amazing volunteers. We can have more people contribute to the events. You know, there's speakers. If you want to contribute to the event, the best way you can contribute to any event is to give a talk. So scan this QR code right now. You can also do it later and submit a talk. It can be anything JavaScript related. Feel free to come up with something no one has ever seen and submit it. Okay? That's how you make this event even better. That's how you put a bit of your heart into the event that you're attending. And I recommend it so much. I could spend the next hour talking to you about why this is a good idea, but I can't. Okay, now it's time for sponsors. Every event like that needs some organizations to help out, and these are our sponsors that we thank for their contribution. So that's Snowflake, whose office you're now in. Thanks. And we're also sponsored by Campus AI, Monday.com, Xfang, and Colstack. Okay. If your hands are warmed up, check this out. Yeah, these are our amazing partners. I'm not going to make you clap for every single one of them separately. So please warm up as I list our partners. That's Comfort Safety, Wprost, In Poland, JetBrains, ekorynek.com, KMag, Rynek Inwestycji, Zielony Bank, VIP Magazine, Business Magazine, Alterset, Levan, Nerdboard, Meeting Planner.pl, and Low More. Nice. Okay. As I said, no event is going to happen without the people who came in and gave the content, gave you the idea that it would be nice to come here and learn something, listen to this stuff. So we have Krzysztof, who's going to talk to us about text parsing. We have Gonzalo, who's going to talk to us about engineering strategy, how to write one. And we have Tomasz Flis, who's going to talk about his ups and downs of 10 years in IT, which, as far as I remember, is the talk that won a Slack voting that happened. And there's also a lightning talk from Piotr. Normally, WarsawJS lets people volunteer to give a lightning talk during the meeting. We have some surprises planned for later on. So this time, I heard we're not planning to accept more lightning talks during the event. But next time, be ready to give your lightning talk. All right, let's go. Yes, we're ready. Are you ready? Are you ready? Okay, so give it up to Krzysztof as he gets installed and warmed up for his presentation.
All right. Will you take the laptop?
Okay, just a minute.
Yep.
For the people watching the stream, I hope you can see this now. You should be seeing some content right now. Okay.
Okay, let's get started. My name is Krzysztof Rzymkowski. I'm a senior engineer here at Snowflake, and I want to talk to you today about text parsing. Let me get straight to the point, because I wanted to do 3 live coding sessions, so I want to cram up a lot of content today. The subject I'm going to work on going to be kind of not trivial, but simple object to parse. It's going to be a Snowflake fully qualified identifier. So let me show you what it is. It's a way, a format that Snowflake uses to identify objects within a schema and a database. So it's 3 identifiers separated by a dot. And each of these identifiers has its rules. Like it can be unquoted, then it's like a variable. It can start with with a capital letter or lowercase. And then some wider range, and it's case insensitive, meaning treated as uppercase, or you can put it in quotes, then you can put anything inside of it. If you want to escape the quote, use a double quote. So now that you know what it is, these are the examples, like what's the interpretation of them. So if it's unquoted, then it's uppercased and stuff like that. All right. So usually, when faced with text parsings, developer is reach to regular expressions to parse it. So raise your hand if you've ever written a regular expression. Yeah, right. At least half of the room or even more. So let's try if that would work here. So taking the parts, the unquoted identifier is kind of easy. There's a range for the first character, and then a bit wider range that is repeated 0 or more times. The quoted one, a bit more cryptic, opening quote, closing quote, and either double quote or not a quote, right? Repeated at least once. So far, so good. I can pipe them together to have the regular expressions for the whole identifier, getting kind of big. But if I try to make the expression for the full identifier, then it looks like the corrupted file. Unusable, cryptic, write once, unmodifiable expression. So it's a dead end. Let's try something different. So the next thing I would try is maybe write a grammar for this format and generate a parser from it. So I'm going to try out Beviglia.js. because it has this nice playground, and I've used it before. So let's give it a sample valid identifier schema, and let's use the double quotes for 2-inch items. Okay. So here I'm going to write the grammar that describes this format. So top level is fully identifier, and it consists of an identifier, a dot, identifier, a dot, and an identifier, right? So going deeper, an identifier can either be unquoted or quoted. No typos? Quoted, I think so. Unquoted was, we can use the regex now. This was manageable. Az underscore and the wider range. 0 one more times. Quoted one is opening quote, closing quote, and then at least once any char but quote or escaped quote. And the last two, so this was easy. Any char but quote, a regular expression for that, and escape quote is a constant. Cool. So now we have kind of a validator, because the interpreted output is still garbage, but at least it validates now the fully qualified identifiers. To have it extract the information, we need to provide the parser a bit more info. So this is the DB, this is the schema, and this is the object. And I can inject some JavaScript here to return the object DB. Okay, getting better. So next one would be this. Just return the text of the whole expression, and the unquoted one should be uppercased. Cool. And ignore the quotes, take the insights. One last thing, the double quote should be interpreted as a single quote. So there you have it, a grammar that describes the parser going from top down, quite expressive. It can handle really complex syntaxes, like most of the languages have this kind of grammars for the whole language. And usually those generative parsers are quite performant, but there are cons as well. First of all, there's an additional build step. So you need to add it to your pipeline. Then the generated code will probably not be compatible with your linters, prettifiers. It might not be in the language you want it. If you use a TypeScript project, Package.js generates JS, so you have to have allow.js configured. And one last con is, I guess, the error handling is not perfect. So let me show you. So it's better than regex, because with regex you have only true or false, matches or not. So this is as much as you could do. With the parser, you get something like this, so a bit more information, but it's still not friendly. I guess what I would want something like this, some error messages that tell me precisely what needs to be fixed. So I think we can get rid of all those cons writing a custom parser. And I can show you that it's going to be almost as readable as a grammar without the cons of generating code. So let's go. So I got this a bit of starter code. So the top level was fully qualified identifier, and it's an identifier. followed by a dot, and repeat it. And the end of input. Okay, let's start with the simpler ones. The dot. So I'm going to go down and down with the methods describing all the parts that the object-oriented parsing consists of. So I have this small abstraction of the input stream that has the accept method that takes a prefix. If it matches the input, then it returns true and moves the input by the match. And if it doesn't match, it returns false. So with it, I can do quite a lot. So here, I'm looking for a dot. If it's not a dot, then it's an error. So I got this error messages listed in the errors so that I don't need to write them whole. Okay, next one, let's go with the end of file. So now, if I get any input, so this is a regular expression for anything, coincidentally a dot as well, then I'll throw expected end of file. Okay, the interesting one, the domain specific identifier. So identifier is either unquoted, come on, or quoted. And if it's neither, then it's there. Otherwise, return it going down, unquoted. Here we can use the expression if it matches the same regex. I'm not going to write it more times. So if it matches this regex, then return the last match that the Lexer stores in the current symbol method. Otherwise, return undefined and quoted. So first of all, if it does not start with a quote, it's not a quoted identifier. Otherwise, we're going to collect its value. So we can have not a quote. Then we just add it to the value. We can have a double quote. Then we add a single quote. Then we can have a single quote that will close the identifier. So we break up the loop. And if we either didn't get the quote or not a quote, then this must be end of the input. So this is the missing quote error, missing closing quote. The loop is endless, only taken by the break. Here we can check if it's not empty. And return it. All right, let's see what I missed. All right, yeah. At the first, we need to tell it that this is the DB. This is the schema. And this is the object. And return the structure that I expect. Okay. So that was better, but now, yeah, uppercasing. If it's unquoted, it needs to be Unquoted needs to be uppercased. And that's all green. So this is the parser that does the same stuff, even better than the generated one. Still very readable. We still can follow it top down with each method corresponding to each level of the format. So actually, this method is more or less called recursive distant parser. And it's not the only method you can write a parser. There's also one kind of even more beautiful called parser combinator, and I'm gonna try to squeeze it with this one more. Let's get started from the beginning, from the top. Okay, so with parser combinators, the idea is a bit different. You take small parsers and combine them together to parse different stuff. So a parser is basically a method that takes the input string and returns a result. The result can either be success, that has the interpreted value and the rest of the input that is outside of the scope of this parser, or a failure result that has the error context. With this, you can build simple parsers. For example, this is a parser creator function that will create a parser that matches the prefix. So if the import starts with this prefix, that's a success. Otherwise, it's a failure. And with these simple parsers, we can build a full grammar. So there are, I got this small library of generic parser operators like sequence that takes an array of parsers and invokes them one after another. If all succeed, the result is the array of these values. If any of them fail, it's a failure of the first one. So I know that the fully qualified identifier is then the sequence of identifier parser, a terminal dot, so dot, right? A dot and a generic end of file. Identifier is either still generic parser combinator that takes parser and invokes up until the first one succeeds. So it's either unquoted or quoted. Unquoted will use a pattern, still generic, and the regex. And unquoted is a bit more complex. It's a sequence of the opening quote, closing quote, and inside we have one or more generic of either not a quote. So I'll inline the pattern here, not a quote, or an escape quote. And the last one, so this is a terminal of double quotes. Okay, almost there's some type error still, because the generic parsers don't really know what to do with the values. They can only return, like sequence can only return an array. But we know the quoted identifier is a single string. So the convention is that the second method of each parser is the mapper function. So here I'm gonna join all the values. The same goes for one and more. Now the types are fine, except I still need to tell how to extract the DB schema and the object. So here I use array deconstruction as the argument. First one is the identifier, so it's the DB. Second one is the dot I can ignore. Then goes the schema, the dot ignore, and the identifier and the object. So it's DB schema object. Let's see what I missed. Again, uppercasing. So I'm going down. Identifier unquoted here. And can you see what the last thing I missed? Well, it's two things. Like this is the interpretation, the definition of the format. Like the doc says, if it's unquoted, then just it's case insensitive. It should be uppercased. So first one is here. The double quotes inside the quote are interpreted as a single quote, and the other one is we should skip the quotes. They are interpreted as nothing. Some spaces. And it should be green, right? So this is in pure JavaScript, something that looks almost as the grammar for the parser generator. No content generation, as readable. You can follow it with code navigation. That's a parser combinator for you. So I made it in time.
Impressive. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, so it's time for Q&A. I hope everyone's ready. There is a first question over here, so I'm gonna come by. But give me back my mic when you finish, please.
Okay, I'll try. How does that perform on production? Because every solution uses regexp. Regexp is pretty slow. So how fast is this solution in the end?
So for this kind of input, when we expect maybe 100 characters, it really doesn't matter what we use. The operations here, I might have sometimes not use like small parsers that do combinations. But generally, on this kind of input, all the parsers, the regex, the combinator, and the recursive descent were more or less the same, milliseconds for a few examples. I'm guessing if performance is really important for you, use the parser generator. It's gonna be there's more engineering effort put there to make it more efficient on the input.
Great question. Okay, we have another one.
Behind the monitor there as well.
Hi, I loved your breakdown of all the different solutions. I wonder what was the real story? How did you end up on the final solution?
Actually, the final solution right now we're using is the destined parser that I wrote when I saw like in existing code and not perfect interpretation of the kind of buggy interpretation of the fully qualified identifier. So I saw it was buggy. It was trying to split by dot, not taking into account the dots inside the quoted and stuff like that. So I sat down and wrote the more or less destined parser because I remember it from the book by Björn Strastrup on C++. There's the first full example of a program is actually a calculator that does input parsing. So I remember this construct from way back, and I knew it can write a nice parser. And then while preparing for the talk, Michał Piotrkowski, a friend of mine from Snowflake, pointed me to parser combinators that's even better, even nicer. Though I wanted to show you both because I think the first one is a bit more easier to digest. The other one is like higher order functions, so like good to note both.
I have two questions. One is if you could once again explain difference between second approach and the third one, the two parsers. I didn't quite get it, like high-level description of solution. And the second question is, what editor do you use?
This is IntelliJ IDEA. Or Webster
Okay.
would be the same, but IntelliJ has more languages. Okay, so the recursive destined parser uses methods. Yeah, it's more imperative. You execute the order of method execution, like defines the order of elements in the input. Each part has its own method that will return success if it matches or backup if it does not. And so it's kind of loosely based on recursive destined parsers. kind of maybe a bit optimized for this solution. The other one builds a parser, kind of declarative by joining functions. So now you have a parser object that is declaratively built using higher order functions. And then you can just run it on the input. Like, this is more functional. That one was more imperative, though. You can still do this one in an object-oriented language with all those operators as objects.
Okay, another question.
Yeah. Thanks. Very good talk. My question is, do you maintain the same rules over different platforms, languages?
Do you maintain what? Different?
Like, you should build the same rules over different languages and platforms, right?
Yeah, so generally this is not, in a functional language like JavaScript, it's easier, it's concise to write this kind of a parser composer. But the ways of writing this parser are language agnostic. You could write those in other languages in a more or less similar manner. Did this answer your question? I don't see you're convinced. Okay, catch me after the talk. We'll talk more.
Yeah, you're staying with us, right?
Yeah, until the end.
Yeah, feel free to talk to the speaker. That's how you network. Okay, I saw there's one more question. Let's do that. We still have time. I hope you still have the power to answer more questions.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So how do you handle grammars with preferences, like precedence in the recursive nested approach?
Yeah, I didn't have to actually have this problem because I didn't get to point of getting like a huge language or like a weird language. Like I know Michał used it for parsing SQL for mocking in tests. So he interprets SQL, it works fine. There's most of the formats are actually rather easy to. You don't need to go the backup. But it's, yeah, I would need to dig into that more.
Do we have any more questions? Okay, there's still time. So I'll pop one, if you don't mind. In regular expressions, you need to worry about lookbacks. Do you have any big performance risks, like things that you should avoid doing because they're risking expanding the complexity that you want to warn people about?
Yeah, so it's similar in this parsers. You can have either a lot of combination going in deep into the method calls, and then they need to back up, or a lot of parsers are getting called and returning failures up the chain. The order of either parsers might make a difference. It's actually kind of easy to debug these parsers. You can put a breakpoint and or instrument those methods and see which one is taking most. So it's easier than with a parser generator that like it spews out some code. You cannot see which like method is taking the longest. I don't have a perfect answer for you, but this is what I would try first.
Oh, this is a very good answer. Okay, I don't see any more questions. Thank you. This was great. Oh, another question. Okay, let's do the clapping. And yeah, let's do the switcheroo here, and you can ask your question on the side. Sorry, because now we're getting Gonzalo installed. And stay with us because there is no break. But after the 2-minute break, we're gonna start with Gonzalo's talk. Feel free to grab some food. Regex.
If it's regex or regex.
What does it mean when it vibrates? When it vibrates. Didn't do that for me. Right?
Jak wciśniemy zacną laptop, to ustawimy następną prezentację i po prostu wtedy się tylko podepnie i
Okay. Let's come back to your seats, and we're starting the next presentation. Okay. Okay, Gonzalo, are you ready?
I think I am ready, if you're able to hear me.
Yeah, you sound very good. Okay, crowd, are you ready? Wow, that's almost as loud as a rock concert. Okay.
Yeah.
Gonzalo, take it away.
All right. As long as you are not making much noise, I don't mind you eating, but please keep it in mind. So yeah, good afternoon, everyone. First of all, thank you for having me here. I hope everyone is having a great time networking with fellow software engineers, architects, or whatever it is that brought you here. Now let's get my talk started. I'm going to be speaking about writing engineering strategy. So a little room check. Who here works at a company or has ever seen a strategy document written down? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, almost 10. That's a pretty solid number. I was expecting more closer to 0. That's usually the case. And how many of you wrote one of these documents? 2. All right, all right. But this talk is for everyone, not just for the 2 that raised their hand. Maybe you can also, maybe you'll learn a thing or 2. And so before I introduce myself, I want to take a brief moment again to celebrate the amazing milestone that all of you are achieving today. 10 years is a very long time, and being able to drive engagement with the community and organizing events like this is no easy feat. So congratulations to all the organizers and to you, lovely audience here, without which this won't be able to happen. So let me start by introducing myself. My name is Gonzalo Beviglia. I work as a staff software engineer at Box, particularly in the digital signature organization. I focus mostly on the front end and quality initiatives at Box, but my background is pretty diverse in stacks and technologies. I actually started my career writing Java for banking applications, so pretty different from front end. But yeah, some personal facts about me. I was born in Buenos Aires, Argentina, and I don't come from there right now, not so far away, but yeah, I have been living in Amsterdam in the Netherlands for over 6 years now. I'm a software engineering graduate, and I'm here for 2 reasons. The first is because I love engaging with meetups of around this size. It's the right amount of people to allow for meaningful conversations after the fact. So please feel free to reach out to me after the talk. I'm especially interested if you have recommendations for what to do in Warsaw. It's my first time here, so far loving it, but I know very little about what to do, where to eat, what to drink. And the second reason I'm here is because Box has offices in Warsaw, in the Warsaw Tower. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. I was told it's the largest, tallest building in Europe, so congratulations on that one. Anyways, I'm organizing an internal event there next week, so 2-for-1 trip for me. One last fact about me, like many people born in Argentina, I love to do barbecues and pair it with some wine. Here is proof of my skills, if you could say so. But yeah, enough with the introductions. Let's get closer to some of the juicy bits I have prepared for you. We will go over several things about engineering strategy today. We'll start answering the question, why is it relevant? Why should you listen to me, let's say? What will follow is a definition of what strategy is and what it is not. I will show you an example of a bad strategy following the 3 elements of what a good strategy should contain. And we will end with an example of what a good strategy looks like. If we have some time, I think we will have enough time. I'll open it up for questions at the end. And if we don't have time, just reach out to me after this. All right, let's start with the why. Why is strategy relevant for an organization, and particularly an engineering organization? So in a good scenario, your team, your company, your organization will do good, right? Your product will get more users, you will sell more software, your clients will expand, you integrate with other services, right? Some organizations are able to do this while keeping their headcount as it is, right? But in general, what I mentioned before usually translates to more teams, more people, complexity increasing, objectives start to cascade from the top down. So organizations can have multiple strategies: product, sales, marketing, engineering will be just one of them. And this is where the picture of this rowboat starts to make a little bit more sense. If your company is the boat, we should all be rowing in the same direction. And strategies help us make sure that our execution efforts compound. Another example I like to use, besides the rowing team, which is more visual, is one from the mathematical, let's call it, world. I'm an engineer, so I need these math metaphors here and there. And so a vector can have both magnitude and direction, right? We can say that the magnitude of our vector is the company or team size, or things we can execute upon and deliver. And the direction of this vector will be guided by one or more strategies that we define. If our engineering organization is going into one direction, let's say investing into building new business to consumer, B2C solutions, but the sales organization is more focused in selling B2B features, well, the synergy is just less. When we add the 2 efforts or directions together, for sure, we get a larger vector, but not as large as it could be. If both orgs are pulling in the same direction, as guided by the same strategy of building and selling more B2B features, the final vector gets larger. And this concept of vector alignment can then be broken down within the organization to teams, subgroups, even within teams itself. We should all be pulling into the similar direction, at least whenever it is possible. So a good strategy can help with this direction alignment. An engineering strategy document can direct a lot of existing or even new technical initiatives into the right direction. It's a very powerful tool when done right, and it helps a lot with solution ideation and execution. But what is strategy, right? If we open a dictionary or we get an old CD of Encarta or something like that, the definition of strategy will look something like the art and science of solving complex and important problems. What I like about this definition is that it mixes both art and science, because you need a lot of creativity to land a good one of these documents, similar to coding in a way, I would say. So I find this to be pretty accurate. But strategy is not a wish list, it is not a vision statement, and it is not a slogan. It is about making ideas happen. A strategy guides you to where you want to be. It bridges the gap between where we are now, where we think we should be, and what we anticipate with our professional knowledge on the industry or the domain that will happen in the middle. And there are 2 types of strategy. and this will blow your mind, but we have good strategy and bad strategy. Let's establish a base scenario that we'll use for both the bad and the good strategy examples. The product we build has 2 front-end repositories, 2 back-end repositories. You can call them monolithic applications, right? Pretty simple. But over the last year, our engineering team grew 3 times, from 50 people to 150 people. The number of features we deliver per month grew twice, from 5 to 10. And the number of production bugs in our backlog also grew 4 times, from 50 to 200. The number of releases we do each week was decreased in half, from 4 to 2 releases per week. That's where we are starting with, right? Let's tackle this situation with a bad strategy. We already start, I'm going to cover kind of the content of the slide if you're not able to read, but we already start off with the wrong foot. The title of the strategy itself is a very specific solution to a hard problem, migration to microservices, right? As we will find out, this bad strategy does not analyze a lot of data. And it starts off by saying that if we migrate our 2 backend repositories, let's say, into 10 microservices, we'll be able to impress our customers, our competitors with our cutting-edge technology. It is also not very specific with time horizons, right? It says that the migration process will take some time, it will take some effort, but it is worth it in the long run, as it will allow us to release more frequently, more independently. This is good because one of our pain points from the scenario is that we are decreasing our release frequency, but this only focuses on the backend side of releases, which we don't even know if that's where the bulk of the problem lies, and it's not stated here anywhere. One of the killer statements of this strategy is saying that the process will be very simple, which makes me wonder if we actually need a strategy at all, if it's going to be a simple problem or solution. But let's continue with it. It follows by saying that the team will use AI to come up with the best separation into domains. I guess we're using a buzzword there. To reduce cost, our existing backends will serve as API gateways, just so we need less changes on the front-end side. And our new microservices will have 100% unit test coverage, and the database will be shared across all services, again, to reduce, simplify communication, let's call it. A strategy like this one might include a diagram of where we are now, 2 on a database, let's say, followed by a diagram of where we want to be. Besides the level of detail, this might be a good enough diagram, but the strategy in general is missing a lot of information on how we landed into the actual solution. Without those elements, we cannot know if there's a better way to course correct, right? A good strategy will contain 3 elements: a diagnosis of the situation, a guiding policy to align on trade-offs, and coherent actions to guide our execution. The first element is the diagnosis. In the diagnosis, we will identify and analyze the challenges and opportunities we face. We want to understand the nature and the causes of the situation. For a good diagnosis, we can use data, insights, or even frameworks. Data is the information we can collect about the situation. Insights are the interpretations we can make on the data we collect, and we can use frameworks to kind of organize and visualize the insights that we gather. A good diagnosis should be clear, concise, credible. It should answer the questions: what is the problem? Why does it matter? And how do we know that there's a problem and that it matters? We should avoid also being overly optimistic, which is not a realistic assessment. For example, assuming everything will go according to plan, or that there are no uncertainties. More often than not, both things happen. The second element of a good strategy is the guiding policy. A good guiding policy will define the direction, the scope, and the logic behind your strategy. You need to use sources of power, of leverage, and of focus. Sources of power are maybe the strengths or advantages that you have or you can create within your organization, like skills or resources that you need to hire or already have. Leverage is the ability to amplify the impact of your actions. And we use focus to concentrate our efforts and resources on the most critical or promising areas. The third element of a good strategy are the coherent actions. This is where we specify the steps, the tasks, the resources that are required to execute on the actual strategy. The coherent actions can be put together by using technical specifications, allocating resources, making decisions, both technical and non-technical ones. And a good set of coherent actions should be clear, they should be feasible, we should be able to make them happen, and they should be enforced too. It should answer the questions, what are we going to do? How are we going to do it? And also who is responsible to do so? We should also avoid making our coherent actions disconnected. Disconnected actions are isolated, fragmented, or inconsistent. They do not support maybe the guiding policy, or they undermine each other. As an example, if our guiding policy favors quality over speed, and one action is that every merge to our main branch will be automatically deployed to production, well, we're just going on the opposite side of the quality versus speed trade-off that the guiding policy sets. So let's go back to our original scenario. Remember, we had 2 front-end repositories, 2 back-end repositories, and essentially we grew in team size. Our speed of delivery also was improved, but our release frequency and quality are kind of lagging behind a little bit. Let's go over this scenario with a good strategy using the elements we've seen so far. Again, you don't need to read this, and if you want the actual example, I can share it. I'll leave my mail in my last slide. But let's start with the diagnosis, right? If I were to write a document like this one, the title would be something like high quality in a growing engineering organization, which encapsulates a little bit the problem at hand. The first point mentions we have 2 business lines. We have 80% of our revenue coming from our B2B business and 20% of our revenue coming from our B2C side of things. And we expect this to remain the same. The second point breaks down our 150 engineering person organization into high-level roles. It also raises the fact that we are cash flow positive this way. And the last 2 points actually take a stab or analyze the problem we see in the scenario. It says that the data from our developer productivity survey shows that most of the reduction in the release frequency comes from the fact that the 2 monolithic front-end applications are blocked because bugs are found later in the process and the whole release does not go through, which is kind of a very good insight. The last point highlights the bug situation and its impact. Our B2B customers are starting to get concerned about the quality of the product, and they expect what they are paying for. So that was our diagnosis of the situation, extending on the scenario a little bit. In the guidance policy, we start by choosing one side of a very usual trade-off. We will favor quality and independence over speed and simplicity, and we are willing to invest on it. We want the concepts of deployments and releases to be distinguishable. And we want to keep the organization size stable until our data shows that we are in a better situation than our original scenario. The second point attempts to automate issue detection before they are released and before they block other teams too. Each feature should include a testing plan. Each testing plan should cover the new features and do regression testing or on our existing product, right? We also want higher levels of testing, not to rely so much on unit tests and its coverage. And the third point about our guiding policy is about being proactive, right? We want to leverage our observability stack to make sure we discover issues before our customers need to call us on the phone to mitigate the risk of losing our reputation in this side of the business. In case there's an issue that goes undetected, which it usually happens, that's what we like to do as engineers, a postmortem of the issue should be written and reviewed. Now, onto the actions themselves. The first one, and piggybacking on favoring independence, we'll set up a team of 3 engineers that will help the teams split the two monolithic applications into independently releasable ones. To address the distinction between deployment and release, we will integrate a feature flipping solution into both sides of the stack, and every new feature or large refactor can and should be incrementally rolled out and released to our customer base, not all at once. We follow with the introduction of two new testing layers, one for the client, maybe with the network mocked, and one for our API layer. And the last 2 points build upon the productivity side of the guiding policy. Each team will have to contribute 3 charts to a shared SLA dashboard where we'll see API error rate, API latencies, maybe JavaScript errors that are happening in the browser. And the last point establishes how postmortems will be reviewed. This postmortem should include action items to prevent and detect future occurrences of the same issue we're encountering, and every team needs to be represented in the review. That's our strategy in a nutshell, what I would consider a good one for this scenario. And we are able to provide a data-driven diagnosis, drive direction through a guiding policy, and outline execution and resources in the coherent actions. So now that we've gone through the bad and the good strategy, I want to leave you with some thoughts on topics that are pretty relevant when writing engineering strategy or when reviewing or reading somebody else's documents. When doing strategy, any kind of it really, make sure you're thinking about risks. If we're just getting started with something like feature flips, is it more risky to buy a product or to build it ourselves? When will one be ready versus the other? What is the cost of a yearly subscription versus staffing a team to build it? And also, how certain are we of all the answers we're giving? When thinking about these decisions, keep in mind the image of this barbell that won't work very well in a gym, but for this thought experiment is good enough. You want to be exposed, you want most of your important decisions to carry a low level of risk on the left side of the slide, but still you want to be exposed to some level of unbound positive risk. In our previous strategy, we had 4 actions that erred really on the side of being cautious, and one of them aimed at re-architecting our whole front-end approach, really, which are 4 actions of low risk and one with higher risk, but also a lot of potential upside. The second thought is that in our industry, exploration usually means experimenting with a new approach, right? And especially in a meetup like a JavaScript meetup like this one, we get new JavaScript tools almost weekly, quarterly, monthly that we can experiment with. And in some ways, exploration is the opposite of standardization. So if you're going to allow for exploration in your organization, you should have clear criteria for adoption beyond the experiment. And exploration should either proceed to adoption or stop because we have data to prove it wrong. If the technology of approach is proven out positively, it should lead to a migration from the previous approach to the new one. If the technology does not live up to its promise, the experiment should be fully deprecated. Standardization is so powerful that we should default to consolidating on few platforms and invest heavily in their success. Many could challenge this, but this is my view, my thought. However, we should still pursue explorations that offer at least one order of magnitude or similar over the existing technology. I think that's a good approach. The last thing I want to leave you with is to think about the audience in general when writing or thinking strategically. In general, strategy documents are written with 2 very different audiences in mind. The first one would be your management chain, your executives, the CTO, your directors, both product, engineering, marketing, any kind of director. These documents are a structured way of discussing long-term problems and making sure people are in agreement with the problem, the solution, and the resourcing and investment needed to actually solve it. And the second audience are the engineers that will be impacted by the strategy that you write. These documents should be transparent, accessible to all, and written in a way that it guides decision-making during execution. Keep both of these audiences in mind when choosing the language and level of details to include. That's it for me. I'm leaving my email in case somebody wants to follow up. I'll be around also for more questions or just chatting or listening your awesome recommendations about this lovely city. And if we have time, we'll open it up for questions.
Your timing was perfect. Like
25 minutes on the
within
dot.
10 seconds.
25 minutes on the dot.
It was perfect. Okay, so do we have questions? Yes, you are first.
First of all, thanks for the great presentation. It was really clearly delivered, so I enjoyed it very much. Now, I'm wondering about the last point, which is the audiences, but also there comes the silent second part of the people involved, which is the authors or the author themselves. So we saw the why, the what, and the how, the three essential steps. But one thing I'm quite interested in is the who. I don't mean the band, but yeah, do you need to be a team leader, a CTO, or does the document need to come from a position of authority? Or is it something that can be produced by a self-governed agile team?
That's a very good question. My answer would be, I think it depends on what you're trying to target in your strategy. If you are one team, let's say, but you want to change how the whole company does engineering, I mean, in my opinion, anybody should be able to write it, present it, and have the opportunity to defend it. It's just that in your scope of work, you have less opportunities to be seated at the table where those conversations happen. So, but if you have the willpower, I think that it's still possible and should be possible for people to raise you up for success and make your voice heard. That's my opinion. If you have more, let's say, official authority or power, well, you have just first, a better vision over the overarching organization. So you have more data points and you can leverage more people than maybe if you are working in a single team. But I think, follow me with this answer, but I think you need some sort of authority to drive such a document, but it doesn't need to be formal authority. You don't need to have a specific title, be the tech lead, the team lead, the manager, the director, or whatever. But I think it's pretty important, mostly to make sure the strategy gets carried out, that people see you as somebody that knows what you're talking about. If, I don't know, I know nothing about medicine. If I were to present the strategy for a hospital, how you should do surgery, well, I could deliver pretty well, but nobody will kind of trust me. So I think that level of authority can be built up, but it's also easier to carry it around if you can just say, hey, you know what, this is a strategy, I'm the CDO, we're going this direction. You might be challenged, but it's easier to carry it out. So I would say both are possible, and I hope your ideas are listened to.
Okay, so you're next, but before we give you the mic, are there any questions from the stream? Okay, we'll give them some more time. Let's go.
Okay, so we have the strategy now, and the question is, what next? How do you track its execution? What do you do when it doesn't work out? And should it be part of the strategy to write the way we track it?
So I think one key point on strategy that maybe in this simple example might not have been so clear is how do you enforce all the actions that you say you're going to do. Enforcing could be, well, we plan for it, we execute on it, we deliver on it, but enforcing could also mean, hey, if we say we're going to, I don't know, do a postmortem every time we have an incident and somebody does not do it, well, why are you going against what we said we would do. I think in this sense, depending also on the granularity and the specificity and the altitude of your strategy, it mostly helps with making sure you don't have the same discussion over and over. Let's say one strategy could be we're moving into microservices, or one strategy could be stop it with the microservices, we're going back to the monolith, and you kind of document it with a strategy, how you're going to do it, how you're going to plan for it, execute. But what it helps is you won't be having, or you shouldn't be having that same conversation of, oh, should I build a microservice or extend the monolith with every single substantial new project that you need to build. Hope that answers part of the question, but it's the other side would be, it's up to mostly the people kind of sponsoring the strategy, the writer, the people that are backing it, which are maybe managed, depending again on the altitude, might be just managers, might be directors, might be the CDO. Those are the people accountable on making sure what you said you were going to do, well, start doing it, put it in Jira, put it in Trello, whatever you're using, but start doing, and I want to see some deliveries, results. So I would say there's two sides of it.
Thank you, Gonzalo. That was a great presentation. And again, we're perfectly timed, so give it up to Gonzalo again. You're staying with us, right?
Yeah.
Feel free to chat them up. And now we're going to install our third speaker. So give us a second. Czekaj. Widać ciebie.
Yes.
Okay, the hardware is ready. Are you ready?
Like always.
Okay. One last bit of technicality. Can we get this one up? Okay. All right, is everyone ready? Okay. Yeah. Sweet treats, right? Don't be sleepy. We have one more. Okay, let's give it up to Tomasz.
Hello. Yeah. First of all, my name is Tomasz, and just really shocked because I just get used to have around 20 or 30 people, and I'm just looking around this hall. I'm just amazed that so many people just came in. So first of all, once again, I'm just really grateful for the organizers, and thank you for this amazing opportunity. So yeah. Once again, my name is Tomasz, and I'm a senior front-end developer at a company called 7N. Right now, actually, the project which I'm working on is for the Danish company called Employ, and in short, it is just about the HR processes, but nothing really fancy, nothing really amazing. So let's just jump to the topic, and my topic will be about ups and downs, 10 years of work in IT. So I would just briefly share you my experience, what I discovered, what was good for me, what wasn't that good, my, let's say, bad decisions. So yeah, first of all, I will mention how I started, what was my first technology, my first technologies. Other than that, of course, the ups and downs. So what was actually what they were. And the last thing, yeah, about the leaving the comfort zone, but that will be just at the end. But maybe just as a kind of a bonus point at the beginning, I will also share a tiny anecdote which is related to the project, which is the most memorable for me. And the project is, actually, that is the photo from this project. And I don't know if you recall this place. The question is if any of you knows the place. What is it? What is the city? Yes, totally right. It's Opole. And actually, that photo was taken in Opole city in 2016. And long story short about the project, I joined a tiny company in Warsaw, a software house, and we were just working on simple websites, simple CMSs, simple CRUD operations, and so on. And at the one time, our boss just came to our room, and he said that, okay, you will do a project for the musical contest, which is hosted in Opole city. I hope that you are aware that in here we have that musical contest by the Polish National Television, and he just came to our room and he said that, okay, we'll just do a project for them. And yeah, that was just for the National Polish Song Festival in Opole. And yeah, my direct role in this project was about, actually I had a kind of two roles. First of all, I made a Node.js API, which was just for the collecting the votes and saving the photos. And about the saving the photos, yeah, because we delivered also an application to allow all of the participants vote for the singer, for the favorite artist on the stage. And also there were a feature to send a photo, and those photos, I don't know if you can see at the back, but those photos were displayed from time to time as kind of bricks behind the contester, behind the singer. And the funny thing about that I had to moderate those photos as well. And I saw really weird photos, but I can share the after the presentation. I can just offsite set what was the photos. But yeah, other thing was a simple dashboard, because I was, let's say, a key player from the development perspective for that project, and I created a really simple dashboard to manage those photos and to display the results to the directors. So who won the contest, who was the first one, second one, and so on, so on. And the project stayed at around 3 months. It was, as far as I remember, at the beginning of the May, and we had that information at the beginning of the February, something like that. And the most interesting part was that we had an ambition to enter the whole object. And we were also invited to that place, to the Opole, and we had a chance just to be from the early morning. I directly saw all of those singers that were practicing. I also had a chance to hit a five with many singers, and I also have a photo with that guy on the stage, which is Michał Szpak. So yeah, it was really, really nice, because I haven't experienced that in my future projects. So that was really interesting, just to see how it is working, how many people are involved in this kind of a project. But yeah, about my beginnings, how I started my journey in the IT. I started just in my primary school, let's call it in that way. And I was creating, let's say, of course, that is not the project that I created, the Space Jam. But side fact is that it is still running website for the Space Jam. You can just open the website and just try to click it. But I just want you to have a feeling. What was the website that I was creating? And it was something just like that, simple project, simple websites with just a simple design. Let's call it in that way. And serious technologies, which I started at the beginning, of course, was the HTML. I took some courses, really simple courses on the net. I just used the Web3 projects and similar websites to them. Also, I started exploring CSS because personally, I love to develop, to code, and do everything around that. But I'm also kind of a design enthusiast that I just love to have consistency and so on. So I also started exploring the CSS. Also, one of the most serious technology at that time, especially at that time, was the jQuery. So yeah, I just started exploring that, and I saw a lot of widgets, those animations, plugins. Whoa, it was just amazing. And free hosting. So the name of the website was, for example, I don't know, my community dot something 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 dot something something something. But at the end, I was a student, so it was free. So that is was the most interesting thing for me. But going straight to the topic about my presentation, what was the first apps? When I started my career, professional career, my first company, what was the first thing which I actually did? I did an image gallery with the photos, and each of those photos had 5 megabytes of size. And there were around, as far as I remember, 20 or even 30 of photos. So it was 10 years ago, so you can just imagine how it was displaying on the website that client asked us to do the gallery on his website, and I just created that, and I was so impressed because everything was working. But when he opened the website, the images were just downloading, and after around maybe 4 or 5 minutes, the images were downloaded. I mean, visible on the page. So that was definitely something that was my first kind of app. Then I started exploring the technology, started to learning the stuff. My first technology which I chose, first language which I chose was the PHP. And especially I stated which frameworks I used. First of all, it was a code igniter. Second of all, Laravel. And side fact, Laravel is heavily extended at the moment. At least that is what I recall. Also, some projects with the Zend and with the framework called E2, with version 2. And the reason behind the PHP and those frameworks was that we had many projects at that company, first company. So I just had to deliver in each of them, and each of those were written in different technologies. So I just had to understand at least something from them. From the, let's say, kind of front-end perspective, I used, of course, the JavaScript and the jQuery, like I stated at the beginning. It was the most chosen feature, chosen technology. Other than that, AngularJS, I just started that because a friend of mine at that company also started doing things, and I noticed, oh, it's really nice. It's working. I don't have to refresh the page and so on. So it's really nice. Other things mainly for the building, for the combining the code into single files, let's say. So Ember.js, Bower, and Grunt. But just pay attention that there are a lot of different technologies, because that is really important. And also from the HTML/CSS perspective, the Bootstrap, that is the one thing that I was just exploring, and also the Materialize. So I don't recall if that was the beginning, but of the material design from the Google. But I just found that library, and I just started also implementing that at the same time. And that was my first apps. But then I fell into my first falls at my career. And first of all, too much technology and too little focus. Like you could saw at the previous slide, many technologies for, let's say, one area. So for the PHP, thousands of frameworks, thousands of different approaches, different features, and so on and so on. From the JS, different technologies, Ember, AngularJS, and so on, many different things. And also in terms of the design, I started exploring many approaches, many decisions, many solutions for how the website should looks like, how they should behave, and so on. Other thing, social factor over development. That is related to the fact that when I started, especially during the first year or even first 2 years of my career, I was interested in the technology, but I was also young, let's say. And I was forgetting about improving myself, but I just jump into some parties. I just, for example, shut down my laptop, my computer, and then just started partying with the people and forgetting that the next day I had something to do. And when I woke up during the next day, it wasn't so easy. So I was starting, let's say, making let's say bad decisions in terms of that I just was working slowly, I was forgetting about something, and so on and so on. So I was more focused on the people that I was working with, but not on the task that I was assigned to. And yeah, it's tough to say that it was my first fail, but it was kind of a fail that whenever I reach out to the people who were toxic in terms of that, they were saying that it's not your place, your code is really bad, you don't know the stuff, you don't know how to code, you shouldn't just quit, you should just consider your career. I was started trusting them. I mean, realizing that, okay, you're right, so maybe I should quit the job, maybe I should change my career, maybe I should take other path. But then, after some time, I started making my kind of a conclusions. And regarding the first thing, which is about the too much technology, too little focus, I now just narrowed the technology stack. So, for example, in the PHP, I just focus on the Laravel, just that framework. On the JavaScript, I focus on the AngularJS. And in terms of the design, I just follow the Bootstrap because it was the most famous design, let's say, framework for that time. And even though after some time, when I switched my first company to the second one, I started thinking that maybe I just should focus just only once on the one side of the coding. I mean, I was thinking backend, frontend, backend, frontend, but then, like I said at the beginning, I'm just a huge fan of the design, to have consistency, to have everything as simple as it could be. The decision was pretty simple and straightforward. And I had experience with the Angular JSON, and at some time, they introduced the Angular with version 2. Everything changed. It was totally rewritten, and I just grabbed that technology, grabbed that framework, and just started doing stuff only with that framework. So I just was stated as just a front-end developer. Social factor over development. Yeah, I just started monitoring my development in terms of that, okay, if everything is done, then I can leave. If everything is working, everyone from the management, my boss, every client is okay with that, then I can do that. Then I can just shut my device and then just go to my colleagues, to my friends. And I also divided that. Okay, this is the time I dedicate just for the work, for the job that I have to do and I'm paid for. And after the job, the social life, but also with, let's say, kind of a place that, okay, I can party, I can go to and do the really nice stuff just to clear my head, but also at the back of my head, I just had to know, okay, next day you have to work. Next day you have stuff to do, and also the clients are waiting. So that was just it. That was let's say, my settlement, that I have to divide that and keep attention that it is divided equally and everything is working. And about about toxic people who lower my self-confidence. The quantity and the quality of work done is an indicator of quality. I was thinking about the sentence, how to describe that, but I'm not that 100% sure if that is the totally valid sentence for it. But what I'm relying to and referring to, during the one of my companies that I was working on during my career, one of the guys just reached out to me, even two guys. One was just a developer. Second one was my manager. And that colleague, let's say, the developer said that you don't know how to code, you don't know how to do stuff, you're doing everything, let's say, not that fast. But then I opened the Jira, I opened the, I don't know, GitHub issues and so on. In short words, I opened the ticketing mechanism and I just compared. This is the stuff that I did during the rest, let's say, a few weeks. This is the stuff that you did. I just this, let's say, did smaller parts in slow pace, let's say, but it was working. The clients were happy. My manager was happy. I mean, other manager was happy. And at the end, that developer realized that, okay, that he is not right. I mean, I was just guarded myself, but showing the things that I did. And regarding that, let's say, bad manager, it was pretty similar. I mean, he just started comparing me to the other developers, but he wasn't paying attention to the velocity, to the stuff that we were doing, because he was just looking at the total result of our job as a team, but he was not checking who did what. And when I showed him, okay, this is the things that I did and it is working, deployed to the production case closed, he changed his mind. But for me, it was a bit too late, because the process of that saying those things, it was for a few months. And then I was started, okay, if you are just so bad guy, it was tough to change him. So I just decided, okay, I will just grab the issues. At the end, I will show you. But then I find it another job. And yeah, it was so. I also relaxed because I just showed him at the end, okay, just check what I did. And yeah, he was just, yeah, so amazed. And he was just, yeah, so ashamed, let's say, because, yeah, he has just proof about my work. So in other words, just to sum it up, I just recommend that always check your board, always check your just thing. What are you doing? And that will just prove how good you are and how amazing you are. And the last thing that I just want to leave you with is leaving a comfort zone. And what I am referring to, leaving a comfort zone is, of course, you can work, you can code, but I just can recommend go outside, go to the people, try to do something bigger. That photo is actually from Google Campus from Warsaw, because other fact about me that 2 years ago, I joined GDG Warsaw, which stands for Google Developers Group, and I started creating meetups, started creating events. And about leaving the comfort zone, I just can recommend participate in meetups like this one, like we have over here. It's really just amazing for me, and I hope for you as well. Start even organize meetups. My first meetups, my first events were about 5-6 people. During the last week, I made also an event. There were 20 of people, but I still saw that they are just happy. And I was also happy because I started meeting other people. So that was also really, really amazing for me. And I started growing my network. And about the technology, tracking the trends and trying them. Like I stated, I'm still working with the Angular as a senior front-end developer, but I started exploring React. I started exploring Next.js. Also from the backend perspective, Nest.js. Those terms are pretty similar, but it is a bit other framework. And yeah, just try to go out of your comfort zone, reach out to people like here, like in other meetups, because I can guarantee that we are open, can easily discuss, argue on something, and so on, so on. So that's it from me. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, question number 1.
Kinda obvious question, but from your perspective, do you think it's easier to start in the JavaScript world or like programming world in general when you started or right now in those days?
Actually, to answer that, it's not that easy because, of course, it depends which technology we prefer and in which technology we are the most comfortable. I mean, which technology is the best for us. But JavaScript is it's a cool language because in one hand you can work on the backend side, and in the other hand you can work on the front-end side. And even though right now there is a, let's say, that rumor, that tendency that we can work as a full stack, I mean, with the same technology. Like I stated, Next.js, because it has full stack framework, Angular is also going towards that direction. So definitely the JavaScript, but just start from something really simple project and then start exploring it and start asking questions, for example, during the meetups, if it is okay. At least, for example, find a mentor, a colleague just to refer to, and then to realize if something is nice, if that is direction nice or not. But yeah, in short words, the JavaScript is definitely a way to go.
Thank you. We have a next question.
Cool talk. I have a
Thank you.
question regarding the toxic environment. What to do if the person who's being toxic towards me is myself? What to do when I'm my biggest critic, other than therapy, of course?
And if that is the case, then I can just clap as well, because that is the person who can always push us. Of course, I'm always pushing myself in terms that, okay, that is my quality, but I want to reach higher. So definitely, if you are toxic for yourself, it depends, of course, if you are thinking or doing something. I hope not, but yeah, definitely. That's great, because that toxic person is always with you. And yeah, just try to avoid a situation that it will just go too deep, that you are pushing so hard, that you are just cutting, I don't know, your surroundings, that you are just impacting your health. So definitely, that's great that you are pushing yourself, but always keep in mind that just find the time to relax, to calm down, to do something, let's say, kind of a hobby, read a book, and so on. So definitely try to, let's say, make some, let's say, equipment inside of this.
Okay, thank you. We ran out of time for questions in the open, but we're going to have a big break now. So feel free to form a circle. This is a great topic to discuss. Feel free to form a circle and spend the next 15, 20 minutes talking. And we meet again here for the remainder of the event at 8:30. Okay?
Yes.
Everyone remember? 8:30?
Thank you.
Thank you, Tomasz.
Ja następny bonus, czy nie?
Tak, sądzę. Kiedy...
Jeszcze słyszałeś problem, że odwrócić przyjdą z takim
Czyli, że oni wypełniają, ja pauzuję i oni sobie wypełniają. Tak, filmik.
Śmiało, śmiało. Powinieneś mieć na Slacku linka.
Aha, czyli ona jeszcze nie była ściągnięta?
Nie wiem, czy ściągałam, czy nie.
Dobra. Sloty i upadki widzę, to nie to.
Na samej górze, znaczy wyżej.
Jeszcze wyżej.
Tutaj, albo ze zdjęciami, tak jest.
To? Ale to jest ten Lightning Talk?
Nie, to
Teraz-
jest album ze zdjęciami na
No.
przerwę puszczamy.
A, okej, to wyklikaj,
Dobra.
ale ja chciałem jeszcze Piotra Lightning Talk przygotować. Masz kreskę do Lightning Talka?
Powinna być.
another 10 years.
Is that first one is I learned how to like exit Vim thanks to you, and second one I learned about like HTTP blast during the time. So is that first one is I learned how to like exit Vim thanks to you, and second one I learned about like HTTP blast during the time. So is
Dobra, to musisz go tylko włączyć.
Hello, we're back. Pick up your drinks and come back up because we're going to have a lightning talk and then some more and then some surprises and everything. But I want to start with a show of hands. So please take your seats. If you're interested in taking a seat, it's a good time to do it now. Okay, we're gonna do a small show of hands. So a survey to get you more engaged and to learn something about you. Even if you're standing out there or eating, feel free to participate. Okay, are you ready for the survey? Hello, hello. Yes, attention here. Okay. Let's start with a simple question. So this is a survey, show of hands. Raise your hand if you have a hand. Who has hands? Good, thank you. Okay, that was question number 1. Question number 2. Raise your hand if this is your first WarsawJS. Thank you. Yeah, let's clap for these guys. Welcome. Okay, now raise your hand if you're also going to other meetups, non-JavaScript meetups, anything. Yay, okay. Okay, 2 more. Raise your hand if you're, you can answer to both. Raise your hand if you're a front-end developer. Okay, now keep your hand up if you're, or raise your hand if you're a back-end developer. Nice. Yes, we learned a lot. Okay, we learned a lot about you. You learned a lot about each other. And now let's learn a lot about Kubernetes. Right? Piotr, take it away.
Correct, correct. Okay, so I'm Piotr. I work at Monday, and I would like to talk with you about Kubernetes at scale, at potentially huge scale. And speaking about our scale, here is some data. So we have 2 million requests per minute. We have over 4,000 Kubernetes nodes. And as you see, we have lots of pods, right? So how many Kubernetes clusters we need to handle this scale? If you go to Kubernetes documentation, you can see the limitations, and it's 5,000 nodes. So you remember that slide? Actually, you can cover that scale with single cluster, right? But that's just a theory. In practice, not really, and maybe it's even not a good idea to keep everything in single Kubernetes cluster, right? You probably want to split between environments, obviously, right? You want to have production environment, staging, development, and so on. You potentially want to have multiple regions to keep workload closer to your customers, and many other reasons. So in our case, instead of having 1 cluster, in fact, we have 50 clusters, but we are actually aiming to have 100 clusters in nearest future, because we discover the reason for having simple process to create new Kubernetes clusters. For example, we have important customers, and we want to have stable infrastructure, dedicated infrastructure for them. We also want to replicate production environment very fast for disaster recovery and for performance testing and other purposes. So how to create a cluster in Monday? When I joined Monday, I didn't know how to do it. So I asked my boss, hey, how to do that? And he sent me a link, yeah? And he wished me good luck. So I clicked that link and I saw huge manual procedure. I started scrolling it and it was like never ending, so many steps, and I got stuck for 2 weeks in the middle, right? Not great. So I saw we need a change. We need to do something. We don't want to have a procedure with 40 steps or more. You know, in Monday we have Sphera. Sphera is our internal development platform. So we wanted to have everything automated. We want to have a screen when we can put the name of the cluster and the place when the cluster will be physically created. In that case, it will be AWS, and APSI2 means it will be Australia, Sydney. And after the click on submit, everything should happen manually. So how we achieve that, it's a very long story, but I have only 5 minutes. So one of the tools that help us a lot is CDK for Terraform. CDK stands for Cloud Development Kit, and that's basically a wrapper to Terraform. You probably heard about Terraform. It's industry standard for keeping infrastructure as a code, and CDK is a wrapper. So thanks to that, you can use TypeScript, Python, Java, and other languages, and you can use all the elasticity of these languages to develop your product, right? And how it looks in the code, right? Pretty easy. If you want to create new cluster on AWS, you just need to import one module. You have to provide the name of the cluster, the role in AWS, some VPC config like defining subnets, and so on. You type CDK TF deploy in the console, and that's it. All the magic is created for you. That's a very simple example. What elasticity you can achieve. So if you are familiar with Terraform, there is something like TF vars, right? This is like simple structure where you can override your environments. You have some defaults, then you have different config for production, different for staging, different for this region, for that region, a lot of cases. So in classic Terraform, the structure is quite static, but in comparison on the right, you have our CDK-TF structure when everything depends on you. Whatever elasticity you need, you just define it, you can refactor it, and you can create a code that merges these variables and provide it to your infrastructure. So this is just an example because I have 5 minutes, but I would like to invite you to our engineering blog, engineering.monday.com. Colleague of mine wrote a very deep dive into CDK-TF. If you are interested in this topic, I recommend you to check it out. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, surprise, we have time for questions. Is there a question? Okay, first row and last row. I get the first row, you get the last row. Don't worry.
Is there any reason why you're using CDK for Terraform instead of just CDK when you're targeting AWS? Just AWS.
Yeah, we could use just CDK from AWS. That's what you are asking, right? But CDK allow us to also use our existing Terraform infrastructure, right? So we don't need to rewrite everything. We can just use existing module and use CDK. But actually, CDK-TF was inspired by AWS CDK, right? So very, very good question. Thank you.
Okay, and one more.
So why should I choose CDK over regular Terraform?
So I think you should choose that if you have some, if you need more elasticity, right? So Terraform is like the declarative approach. CDK-TF give you the imperative power. So you need to be careful to not overuse that imperative because you can create a monster. But if you use it in moderated way, let's say, then you have huge power to improve your infrastructure as code.
Yeah, is YAML Turing complete? Don't answer. Okay, thank you.
Up to you.
Okay, thanks. You can keep asking questions later, but now we have Mr. WarsawJS himself, Piotr. Come on up.
Hello. Let me give me a moment to change the slides. Looks like fatal error. 1 second, please.
Almost there. Let me entertain you while this is happening. Remember show of hands that we did 10 minutes ago? We can do more.
Okay.
So let's try some more. Okay, who's doing server-side rendering? Wow, that's a lot. Okay, who enjoys server-side rendering? Same number. Okay, see? We're learning here. All right. Who's still using jQuery? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Give it up for them, the 6 people who are still keeping up our legacy.
Yeah. Hello. you reminded me the joke about who wants change. Who wants to change? Crickets. So this was it. So yeah, I wanted to start with a story. It will be very fast. I'm not going to go through every meetup. I just wanted to pinpoint the major milestones at WarsawJS, the important parts that you were also part of, because it's not that WarsawJS is me, it's us. Because we deliver it, we do it together. I'm the person who is asking for help, for your help, and asking all the time. And you were patient enough to to continue this relationship for so long. So thank you very much for that. Because this is incredible. 10 years, 10 years. It's wow. So so it was your. It was you, guys and girls. It was you who helped me, who did everything like this, and help yourself too. So okay, I will put my philosophy later. So the inspiration for WarsawJS was a meetup that I joined when I was a programmer beginner. I went to Vrug. I was learning then Ruby, and there was a community, and I saw, programming community, and it's welcoming, and they actually taught me something, and they told me, hey, do this, don't do that, learn this way, don't learn that way. And I thought, oh my God, so much support, so much support. I think I recovered several years of my career thanks to these people, these senior level programmers who told me how to do it. And it's me. At my first meetup in my life, I was 27 then, it was over 10 years ago. WarsawJS was not here, but WarsawJS appeared later. The first meetup actually was not organized by me. It was organized by 3 other people, Marcin, Krzysztof, and Piotr. And Krzysztof actually wanted to make copy-paste of Vrug, because Vrug was an excellent meetup. They had very good place, very good organization, very good timing. So it was that on one day of the week there was Vrug, and the JS version was later, and it had incredible recognition, because that's the picture from the first meetup, and there were like 50 people inside. It was really really incredible. It was 29th of October. So no, it was the next one actually, but Anyway, at the second meetup, I was already a speaker, and later Krzysztof and Piotr, who is present today with us. Piotr, can you show yourself? Yeah. So. So yes, so you started this whole thing, and it was amazing to accept your offer to be a co-organizer, and then we started to have great ideas. We wanted to do more. This meetup was amazing. I think there was even a photo of our coins that we exchanged for a beer or a drink. Yeah, somewhere here. Anyway, the first amazing initiative that we started, it was 4th of December. We started to do workshops. We had excellent room at campus Warsaw. Now it was called something else. It was anyway. Now it's called Google for Startups. So we wanted to expand and give more opportunities for people to learn from each other, to teach and then learn. So we wanted to create even better environment for learning and for knowledge exchange. Because WarsawJS, the idea came to us that actually WarsawJS is a catalyst. It's a place that enables people to learn and grow together, because people don't actually it's not fully true. People can learn individually. However, when they learn in groups, it can be more successful and in different directions than they would do it alone. Because every problem that we have is probably a problem of another person too, and we can share our solutions. Something you can't figure out alone. That's why people read books, also. So this time was actually one of the best times of WarsawJS, because then we had all the time enough sponsors, enough people everywhere. It was that here Warsaw Spire. So Warsaw Spire became our regular place to join. It was like the place of WarsawJS, and it was also neutral. It was not belonging to a particular sponsor. Or actually, it was a bit, but anyway, it was not official. So we had a lot of meetups there. Like I think most of the meetups actually. No, the place where the most meetups were was actually Warsaw Spire, and it was 2017, 18, 19, I think. And there, in 2018, we started to collaborate with Barry. This was something really interesting and exceptional, because our meetup started to be really international, with very good English, with a really inclusive community, because inclusivity is also about age. It's also about all features of being, for example, neurodivergent and so on. So Barry also opened our community more. It was 2018 where he was the first time the master of ceremonies of Confront.js, and then also WarsawJS. Here is the second conference. It was Confront.js 2019. There are even some volunteers. I think Piotr Sławiński is also with us here. Okay, he must have. So anyway, thank you very much for coming after this. Yeah, the smallest person not to recognize. Yeah, I was looking for Jesus, Piotr. Okay, and this was an absolute milestone, because just after the conference, the court accepted us as a NGO, as a foundation, and we succeeded with that, and we had also our fifth birthday. However, some things started to be difficult. Like you needed to actually invest all the funds that we wanted to give as funders to open a bank account for the foundation. So it was absurd. Anyway, what we concluded is that the mission is to support your growth of everyone here, to support your growth, to create some kind of environment in which you will grow better, more, and in a more effective way, so that we share our knowledge, we learn from each other, and we are open to teach others and give back what we received earlier. That was exactly what I was doing. I received so much goodness from these people there at Vrug, and later even too. For example, when I joined WarsawJS, also Piotr Kowalski and Krzysiek Modras were still helping me to become a better developer because they were more experienced. So I was also taught by the community, by many people. I could at any time I could write on a Slack message to some of them and ask how to manage this problem. So also important milestone, Maciej, just after we started the foundation, I think it was at the end of 2019, Maciej joined us as our social media expert. And Maciej, I know you're watching us, so thank you very much for joining, being still with us. Actually, this photo was done later. However, why I say this? Because Maciej has so much perseverance that it was really possible to survive the pandemics, because we were doing it actually in a not a very good circumstances. I will tell you more, because yes, when the pandemic started, we all had enough. It was very depressive. That was the time when Piotr and Kasia ended cooperation with WarsawJS, and it was really sad because sponsors didn't want to sponsor online events. Online events were not providing actually the community building part that we wanted. So still, we were fighting for that people still will meet, still will exchange, still will run together projects on YouTube. So through YouTube also there were some streamings. I mean, they could, for example, run some projects together on GitHub, and we wanted to enable the connections. However, it was still not effective. So I was trying to invite interesting guests to take advantage that we can, for example, have a speaker from the United States at the online meetup. There were some ideas how to create this virtual spaces for people to meet there in virtual, but people really didn't enjoy. What we succeeded was actually some cooperations with other platforms like Free Code Camp. We had some cooperation to get more ranges, and for example, Bartek's talk that was on YouTube was really posted on this very popular platform, but it still didn't work well. So we returned in 2020. We started to meet people. We started to have really good time. And Luisa joined also us. I think also Luisa is watching us. So thank you very much, Luisa, for being for the great contribution to WarsawJS. And yeah, that was still like pandemic time also again. And workshops online, and some kind of screenshot-oriented life. And then we started to be more expansive. We wanted to the community to come back. We made some new experiments with the places. I don't know if you remember. We even had our meetup in our logo, because it's Kinoteka, right? So yeah, no, not very funny. So the last, we continued also our workshops, but unfortunately on the 66th workshop didn't have too much people there. And we thought that maybe people started to use AI and they learn more with it. But anyway, if you're still interested in workshops, we are looking for feedback. There are some people who want to be coaches, and maybe we can try to organize another workshop and see what happens. Because yeah, that was actually the last workshop that we had. So a milestone and a step back. And Confront.js. This was actually something that maintained our successes, because we saw that every conference that we do again is better. This was the fourth one, and this year, so in 2023 was the fourth conference, and the last one was in 2024, and it was actually the most amazing. And giant support from Sasha comes on 28th of March 2023. Sasha, you're with us. Big applause for you. And I must say that this is actually the moment that WarsawJS became actually organized. because there was no way to not to follow the directions. So that was absolutely a breaking change, and we started to have. That's why we have organized meetups for the next 3 months already, and yeah, WarsawJS Meetup, for example, 2015 already in Vox, already everything after pandemics. Barry is the MC. And now you can see that there is a pattern. We actually make circles between Packhub, Snowflake, Box, BEC, Google for Startups, and Paramount, and we do it like a round. If you want to also contribute and your company would like to join this circle, it's fine. We actually did like 3 or 4 like this kind of circles, but that's funny. I think it's more interesting. If we had only in one place, it would be more boring. So all of these efforts, meetups, conferences, workshops, we're also publishing the blog, and if you want to contribute, if you have a new blog post, we can also reshare it for you to get more attention and feedback and collaboration. Master classes, there was a whole series of 10 podcasts, like Radio IT, for example, mentoring within the community. If you are looking for a member, also don't for a mentor, and you want to be a mentee, also write on our Slack, and it can happen, because, for example, Agnieszka, our volunteer, she's hopefully watching online. She was already a mentor of three our members of the community, and now becomes the fun part. What is the key question? For whom is WarsawJS? For whom is WarsawJS? Tell me. Do you know? What's the answer? The key to the industry, the key to development of all of us. Michał, do you know? 10 clouds.
What was the question? Can you repeat?
What's the key? For whom is WarsawJS? For whom it is? Michał, you sponsored WarsawJS for 5 years. You're 10 clouds. For whom?
For developers.
Developers. Developers, 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 developers. Come on. Developers, developers, developers. It's true. This is the key, the power of our community. Why? Why? Because we are the engine of growth. We actually build this internet. The internet is our platform, this catalyst of all communication. The whole thing comes from there. It's true. It's true. It's incredible. And the path. In WarsawJS, you can become a meetup attendee. You're now an attendee. And if you want to continue, you can either go to WarsawJS as a lightning talk speaker, and that's the first step to start to be more engaged in the community, or a WarsawJS blog poster, right? If you have a blog, you also come to us, and we can publish it on our blog, and then of course if it passes some review. And volunteering is also for everyone. It's also for everyone. If you want to help us with organizing this, it's also open for you. And there is again a next step. WarsawJS Meetup speaker. So not 5 minutes, 20 minutes. You start to have more experience. You can actually check your skill, and then after you learn it, you can become a international conference speaker, for example, or a WarsawJS mentor, or all workshop coaches are also the more experienced people. And there were several situations where meetup speakers started as a lightning talk speaker, then a meetup speaker, and then a conference speaker. Don't look too far away. In 2024, for example, both Adri and Mikhail were conference speakers, and also later going to other conferences in Europe. So in summary, we made 202 events, 66 workshops, 118th meetup is now, 238 speakers, 89 coaches, many meetup members, talks, videos, and hours watched on YouTube. The conference show it. Here are our references. It was incredible because every year we got better and better feedback. This last conference, 90% of members told us they want to go to Conference again. That was much higher than the years before, so we really made it well. So, what did we learn through these 10 years? Was there something, or are we just not making any reflections? Invest in yourself and in the people around. If you don't invest in yourself, you can't invest into others because you don't have the capacity. And if people don't invest in you, you also are lost. So we always grow together. That's the truth. No man is an island. Teams matter. Collective knowledge. It's everything that we share. Why there are so many hundreds of frameworks in JavaScript? People don't talk to each other. They don't understand why this framework. It's I don't want to even learn how the other people thought. I'm going to create my own framework and it would be understandable for me. So lack of communication, and communicating openly. Because we have blockers, we think we are stupid, we shouldn't say that, we are afraid of something. It's fine, really, we're human, right? So let's do it openly and make small steps and collaborate, make it for your collaborations, for your cooperations with others. Be just open for that. This is quite stunning, I think. So many companies contributed to WarsawJS during this 10 years. For example, also Artur is with us here. So he was with us for 4 years, I think. It was constant support. That's also why WarsawJS grows. So thank you very much, Artur. Thank you. Yeah. And plenty of other companies who are still with us, like Colstack, Campus AI, or Monday.com. They're with us, and they contributed to the gift packs you have, you got. So that's quite incredible. So and shortly about our partners, we are going to have more media ranges thanks to them. So thank you all, Comfort Safety, Prost in Poland, JetBrains, EkoRynek, KMag, Rynek Inwestycji, Zielony Bank, VIP Magazyn, Business Magazine, Alterset, Levan, Nerdboard, Meeting Planner, and Lawmore. Thank you so much to make it big. So the biggest thank you is to you, because you are the community. No one can deliver something alone. It's every task you make, every actually reaction on Facebook or on social media, or every picture you make, everything that you do is a contribution to all of us, because we want to grow together. We want to make this catalyst even better, so that you can develop that way that is the best for you, because in this kind of group we can really achieve much more. So thank you very much, WarsawJS, and thank you for the attention.
Thank you. This was very inspiring. Now, I need just a few more minutes to talk about what we're going to do next. So allow me to find the slides. I'm a Linux user. All right. Okay, have you seen our sponsors? Okay, thanks again to our sponsors. I'm not going to go through them again, but we still love them. Yeah. And now the survey. So WarsawJS develops and gets better because of everyone's feedback. So now please scan the code and start filling in the survey. It's short, I've been promised. And it's going to help WarsawJS become better, at least better to you if you fill in the survey. Are we ready? Okay. Yeah. So this is not the first and not the last meetup in WarsawJS history, because the next meetup is already planned. So next time you can hear about Astro, you can hear about some signals. It doesn't say Angular, so are these Angular signals? Are these signals in general? You can learn about setting up your portable local dev environment, and all that on a date that's already known. It's the second Wednesday of the month, as always. Okay? You can already book your seat with a discount. I know, a lot of codes to scan. I'll give you a moment. Okay. So you got a discount. What if you want a better discount? There's a better discount. Yeah, so you can get a year-long ticket with an even better discount. Okay. I can see people still scanning. Just a second. Yeah. Okay. Anyone on the stream scanning still? No? Okay, moving on. All right. Yeah, I don't have a splash to end this, but this is not the end. We have some more surprises. So give us a second as we set up our surprise. Who's starting the surprise? Hello? You? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Just a moment. Yeah, there's some surprises. I think I'm going to use the gap for something that no one planned. Give me a second. I need to invite someone unexpected. Hello, I'm Zbyszek from Meet.js. Organizers of WarsawJS, could you please come close? I wanted to wish you all the best. May WarsawJS last 100 years, and may we meet again as they bring us into a room and tell us to talk about JavaScript when we're 90 years old. Come on up. Give me a hug.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, everyone, this is another surprise. Wait, which screen is it gonna be? Oh, coming up. Okay, one more minute for the slides to come up. Now, everyone, this is another surprise. Wait, which screen is it gonna be? Oh, coming up. Okay, one more minute.
We're looping
for the slides to come up.
Can I tell them that we
now, everyone, this is another surprise. Wait, which screen is it gonna be?
Do we have the
Oh,
time?
coming up. Okay, one more minute we're looping for the slides to come up.
Can I tell them that we?
Should I say it again, everyone? This is another surprise. Wait, this which screen is going to be? Do we have the time? Coming up? Okay. One more minute. We're looping for the slides to come up.
Can I tell them that we?
Should I say it again, everyone? This is another surprise. Wait, this which screen is going to be? Do we have the time? Coming up? Okay. One more minute. We're looping for the slides to come up.
Can I tell them that we?
Should I say it again, everyone? This is another surprise. Wait, this which screen is going to be? Do we have the time? Coming up? Okay. One more minute. We're looping for the slides to come up.
Can I tell them that we?
Should I say it again, everyone? This is another surprise. Wait, this which screen is going to be? Do we have the time? Coming up? Okay.
欢迎参加 WarsawJS 的10周年庆典，9月11号在波兰华沙，期待大家的到来。
This which screen is going to be? Do we have the time? Coming up? Okay.
欢迎参加 WarsawJS 的10周年庆典，9月11号在波兰华沙，期待大家的到来。
This which screen is going to be? Do we have the time? Coming up? Okay.
欢迎参加 WarsawJS 的10周年庆典，9月11号在波兰华沙，期待大家的到来。欢迎参加 WarsawJS 的10周年庆典，9月11号在波兰华沙，期待大家的到来。
WarsawJS, great community, interesting talks, and very inspiring.
Happy birthday, WarsawJS! For me, WarsawJS is more than just a meetup. It's a community where developers come together to share and grow. I love its vibe and I get to meet people who love JavaScript as much as I do. Going to these meetups has given me great insights, new connections, and a real sense of belonging. I'm really glad to be part of this community and I hope you're enjoying it as much as I am. Thanks for watching!
Hi, I joined WarsawJS Meetups like 1 year ago and I'm already impressed of how much knowledge I gained and how many wonderful people I met. It's amazing that you're doing this already for 10 years and I wish you all the best for the future and another 10 years of wonderful meetups, great talks and wonderful community.
So my first WarsawJS was around 7 years ago, I think. Yeah, a lot has happened since that time, and I would definitely call WarsawJS an incubator for my career, for my skills. I think thanks to making presentations there and watching presentations there, I've learned a ton. I've met so many people. I found a job myself. I found a job for somebody else. So yeah, the value from this community is huge, and yeah, it's still incredible that it's happening every month. That even the pandemic couldn't stop the organizers, and a lot of meetups struggled during the pandemic. And currently the whole WarsawJS community is thriving. So yeah, awesome job everyone, and yeah, I just love going back there. So see you on the birthday party.
دهه‌ای که گذشت سرشار از تلاش، یادگیری و همبستگی بود. با امید موفقیت و رشد روزافزون در دهه پیش رو WarsawJS عزیز تولد مبارک.
Hi WarsawJS, I want to thank you for being such a great community for those like 10 years, being so like inspiring and funny. Regarding my two most significant memories that I have with you is that first one is I learned how to like exit Vim thanks to you, and second one I learned about like HTTP 2.0, which was like a blast during the time. So thank you for the fun, thank you for the talks, and thank you for being there and being such a wonderful people.
Hey WarsawJS, happy birthday, happy anniversary. I hope you to have courage and strength for the next 10 years of delivering good quality and great community vibes and just doing the best work you can do. By the way, this is just a random painting, don't bother, it's not my apartment, why not? But yeah, one more time, happy anniversary and wish you good luck for the next 10 years and even more. See ya, that was Michał. Bye.
My name is Christopher Mile and I wish happy anniversary to all the beautiful people of the WarsawJS community.
WarsawJS is the best development community in Warsaw. Thank you so much for doing this for the past 10 years. I really enjoy coming to the meetups and being a part of this community.
Hello from Plum Island, Massachusetts. I'm Kathleen McMahon, and I want to wish WarsawJS a very happy birthday. Happy birthday, y'all!
Cześć WarsawJS. Dzięki za wsparcie w potrzebie, za inspirację, za masę cennej wiedzy w nagraniach z prezentacji i za możliwość poznania ciekawych ludzi na żywo, a nie gdzieś tam tylko w tych internetach. Wszystkiego najlepszego!
WarsawJS, happy birthday!
Wszystkiego najlepszego WarsawJS.
Happy birthday WarsawJS!
Happy birthday WarsawJS.
Happy birthday WarsawJS.
WarsawJS, tug'ilgan kuning muborak bo'lsin.
Happy birthday WarsawJS.
Wszystkiego najlepszego WarsawJS.
Wszystkiego najlepszego WarsawJS.
Wszystkiego najlepszego WarsawJS.
Happy birthday WarsawJS!
Wszystkiego najlepszego WarsawJS.
Wszystkiego najlepszego WarsawJS.
Happy birthday WarsawJS!
Happy birthday from Snowflake!
Честит рожден ден WarsawJS.
Вітаю з днем народження, WarsawJS! Ура!
Wszystkiego najlepszego WarsawJS!
Happy birthday WarsawJS!
Wszystkiego najlepszego WarsawJS.
Z dniem narodzenia WarsawJS.
Be raising your max high mates. A mighty happy decade the year WarsawJS. May the code be flowing smooth as the sea breeze. Arr!